This is going to be a good day. Hello guys and gals, Buffalo here. Welcome back to the range. I've got a special treat for you guys today, or maybe not. Maybe some of you guys don't like double action revolvers the way I do, or maybe you're Colt haters or something like that. But it's a special treat for me. I'll put it that way. I've wanted to shoot one of these new model Colt King Cobras ever since Colt reincarnated them, and I just hadn't got a chance to do that until now. So as you guys know, I'm a big fan of double action revolvers. One of my favorite guns to shoot are double action revolvers of any kind. But before we go on, I do want to let you guys know that I don't just have one of these at the range. I've got two of them. This is a Colt King Cobra from the 1990s. Imagine that. It's hard to believe they had guns back in that century. But I've got an example from that time frame here. This one was manufactured in 1994. And later on in the video, we'll do some comparisons between the two. I'm going to tell you what, they are very different revolvers. Yeah, of course, they've got a lot of similarities. They're both double action revolvers chambered for .357 Magnum, but they're totally different revolvers too. And we'll get more into that later on in the video. I did want to let you guys know they will be coming up shortly. But the main focus of today's video is going to be the new model Colt King Cobra Target. So where do we start? Well, I guess we'll start at the top here. You can see it's got a polished stainless steel finish. It is a stainless steel revolver. It's got a polished finish, except here along the top. It's got a matte finish, and that's to help keep glare down when you're looking down the sights. Has a orange fiber optic sight up front. You can change that out via a little screw in that hole right there. Take that screw out and you can swap your sight out if you wanted to or needed to for some reason. The rear sight is fully adjustable, just a standard rear target sight. Adjust your elevation here, your windage here. And there's also a little Allen key set screw right here that you'll need to loosen before you make any adjustments to that sight. And you'll also need to make sure you tighten it back down or your sight will walk all over the place on you. It does have the full underlug barrel, shrouded ejector rod. Of course, the Colt pull cylinder latch. Pull it back to open your cylinder. And the cylinder does rotate clockwise, as you would expect from a Colt. Colt pony medallion there on these Altamont wood grips. I didn't see a weight advertised on Colt's website, but this revolver comes in at just under 35 ounces according to my little scale here, and that's unloaded, of course. The trigger and overall action feel of this revolver is superb. I would rate it very highly. The double action trigger pull is very smooth, buttery smooth. The single action is a little stiff, but it's so clean, it breaks so crisp that it'll fool you into thinking it's lighter than what it actually is. So let's see if I can get a double action pull here. Now this scale only goes to 12 pounds. There's a lot of my revolvers that I can't get a double action pull with this little scale, but I'm willing to bet that I can with this one. 9 pounds, 5.5 ounces. That's pretty good for a double action trigger pull as far as the weight goes. So let's try the single action. Now this thing feels like about a 3.5 pound or 4 pound trigger, but I know it's going to be heavier than that because I fell for that on the Python. When I had the Python out here at the range, I thought it was lighter than it actually was because it felt so nice. Looks like 5 pounds, 6 ounces. So not the lightest trigger in the world in single action, but these Colts are known for their buttery smooth double action triggers, not so much their single action. And it is still a good trigger, even though it says 5 pounds, 6 ounces. You don't feel the 5 pounds and 6 ounces when you pull this trigger. 4.25 inch barrel on these. You can see it has a recessed target crown. Now, how about I shut up and shoot this thing a little bit? All right, so those were 38 specials. For you guys that might be new to revolvers, you can shoot 38 special in any revolver chambered for 357 Magnum. But 38 special is not near as powerful. I've got some full house 357 Magnum loads in here now. Let's see how that does. Oh yeah, she's barking now. That's more like it. Don't know if you guys can hear that ring or not. I'm at about 60 yards, maybe 65. Okay, so back to that little comparison I was going to do between the old and the new. Guys, I don't have any notes wrote down here. I'm just looking at the two and pointing out the differences that I see between the two. Little history, I guess, and if I'm not right on these years, like I said, I don't have any notes with me, then I'm pretty close. But the King Cobra was introduced in 1986, discontinued in 92, returned to Colt's lineup in 1994. That's when this one was made. It was dropped again in 1998 and finally reincarnated in 2019 as this revolver. They're not the same revolver. You can see, look here at the cylinder difference, the size difference. Look how big this cylinder is compared to this one. This is the old, this is the new. This is just a bigger revolver. The meat on the top strap is actually thicker on the new one than it is on the old one. The cylinder itself is much smaller. Look how little meat there is between the chambers and the outer walls compared to the old one. And the old one, the cylinder is recessed, not the individual chambers, but the cylinder. You can see this rim here around the outside of the cylinder. The new one does not have that. Look at I'm going to close these up now that you've seen that they are clear. Look at the cylinder releases. Look how small it is on the new one versus on this old one. It's huge. The thickness of the frame here is thicker on the old one than it is the new one. The hammer size, look how thick that hammer is, how big that hammer is on this old one compared to the new one. Look at that. A big difference. I'll show them to you cocked. You can see the slot there that the hammers go in. See the difference in the size. Both of them have the transfer bar safety, obviously. But just the size, this old one is such a bigger revolver. These screws are located in different places. The trigger guards are made different. The pins and screws on this side are located different. The triggers, look how big and thick this trigger is on the old one compared to that slim little trigger on the new one. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. They're both great revolvers. And the old ones have their following, their loyalists. They refuse to enjoy the new one. I don't think it's as bad the other way around. I think a lot of guys that own the new ones still appreciate the old ones, but it don't go both ways. Some of the guys that like the old ones only like the old ones. But it's a bigger revolver. It's a totally redesigned. It's not the same King Cobra. If I were to pull these grips off, and you know what? I'm going to real quick. So here they are with the grips off. Look at the difference. The new one has that linear leaf spring action, while the old one had the coil spring mainspring. Not even the same revolver, not even close. So as you can imagine, the different designs make for a very different feeling action on each of these revolvers. To me, this old one feels more like a traditional double action revolver, like a Ruger or a Smith & Wesson. When you pull that trigger, the hammer drops, you go to let off the trigger, and the spring pushes the trigger back out and kind of pushes your finger out to reset if you let it. Whereas the new one with that linear leaf spring setup, you squeeze that round off. You have to make sure that you let off that trigger because it doesn't force you to let off the trigger the way the older one does. From what I've seen, most of the problems people have with this revolver are from short stroking it. You have to make sure you let all the way off that trigger and pull again, or you might not get the full reset and you'll just get something clunky will happen and it'll mess you up. Whereas the old one is easier for a beginner, somebody that don't know how to reset a double action revolver. It almost does it for you, if that makes any sense. But that's those side by side. I just wanted to show you that while I had them both. So I want to thank my friend Shane for sending me over this new model, and my friend Jose for sending me over the older one. You know, it's guys like you that keep this channel going. I really appreciate it. Both of these are great revolvers. To me, they're almost two different classes of revolver here. It's not like picking one over the other. It would be picking which one suits your needs the most. They're that different to me. Let's pump a few rounds through this old one while we've got it out here. I've got some of my Full House 357 reloads in there now. See if it makes some hits. I do not like that orange paint on that rear sight. Makes it hard to see. I did get a hit there though. All right, got all hits. Looks like the sights are right on this thing. So it's about 50 yards to that orange 10-inch circle down there. See if I can put any on it. I missed that one. There we go. Five out of 6. Not too bad. And I shouldn't have missed that second one. That was just me. And that's about all I've got for today. I've really enjoyed shooting these fine revolvers. You guys always remember, if anybody asks you to give up a little of your freedom for the greater good, that freedom is the greater good. And I'll talk to y'all again soon.